All right. Where do I think Bitcoin is going right now, specifically? Where do I think Bitcoin is headed? That's a very good question. People are all over the place. I'm going to be honest with you, including me, to be honest. It's a good subject because I know a lot of people have investments, things of that nature. They're looking for how to make money. I haven't been focusing all of my time on trying to actually purposely, try to predict Bitcoin's price. One being, I don't trust centralized exchanges. I don't want to buy coins right now, but I do believe that Bitcoin could head to 30K. I still think I'm all out bearish. I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm very, very, very bearish. I don't think we're going to 200K. I don't believe that we're going into the bull market. I believe the bull market will happen towards the end of 2024. That would be like an amazing position to get into. I stick by that. And I know there were some banks that went down in Silicon Valley, as well as some credit issues in other parts of the world for some other banks. And people are scared about it. But I just don't think it's enough for us to flip dovish. We got to talk about the macro environment, right? So I want everybody to just take a quick second and just think about what's going on, because I'm out here on my laptop putting some stuff together, for my group. Just really think about it. Like, just take a second and think. There's a potential war in China. There's all types of issues when it comes to supply chain. There's supply chain issues all over the world. Nike can't get his shoes out without looking messed up. The Cement 3s were all messed up, the Nike shoes. Apple was having issues getting their phones and their tablets out. They were having supply chain issues as well. And this is just like the tip of the iceberg. So although I think it's bad, here's the general narrative. This is why everybody thinks it's bullish. They're like, oh, well, if it's the macro conditions, then that has to do with the Federal Reserve. What move is the Federal Reserve doing? And the Federal Reserve, they're potentially flipping, dovish because there's banks that are going bankrupt. So it's time to flip dovish. Look, the Silicon Valley Bank wasn't as big as the 2008 bank crash. Not even close. I'll get scared when Wells Fargo crashes. Also, if you look at the volatility index, the VIX, we don't see that much volatility. We see about 1/3 of the volatility that we saw in COVID, with the entire thing that went on there. So in my personal opinion, my honest opinion, I think we will have a short-term pump. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can make money off of that. I'm actually potentially making money by getting into a project very, very short term, like I'm talking about days and maybe weeks. But you can make little money off of that. But the ultimate goal is to find positions to leverage on the way down. How are you going to leverage your money on the way down? How are you going to make money on the way down? That's the question. There's a couple of things I'm doing. I'm thinking, I'm getting really creative, like passive income sources, affiliate marketing, things of that nature. There's nothing wrong with that. As well as there's ways to short the market with lending protocols that I told you guys about. Coming up with videos in the future. The honest gist is that to buy and hold and wait for Bitcoin to go to 200K is not going to help you. It's not going to help you at all. You're going to have to find other solutions, definitely. You're going to have to find a lot different solutions to help you make money right now. And this is the advice for the general people. We could talk about Bitcoin going to 200K all day. We could talk about cryptocurrency going to the moon, and I can make you feel good about what's going on. But the actuality of the situation is that the economy of the world is not a good standing. Right now, inflation, the CPI numbers came in at 6%. And the most important thing is the housing, the shelter index. So the CPI calculates inflation by a multitude of things. And the biggest measurement for that calculation is the shelter. That's the biggest one. And right now, that is showing no signs. I believe it's like 33% of the index. So if shelter is showing no signs of slowing down, that inflation is showing no signs of slowing down, then I'm sorry, but inflation is not slowing down. And when it comes to the Federal Reserve, they're not slowing down. It's not happening. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Just to be completely transparent with you guys, I just genuinely don't see the market I don't see the Federal Reserve flipping dovish right now. It has not broken. We are not seeing 2020 numbers when the whole thing in China and the COVID came out. We're not seeing those numbers. We're not seeing them even close, like not at all. Like not even like, I would say even like 1/3, 1/4. Once I see catastrophic event like that, that's when the market comes all the way down. I need to see that. And the reason why is because we're in a worse economic condition than we were in 2020. It's like the world's like on a great tension right now. There's a great tension in the world. There's potential wars. Everybody's like, macroeconomic wise, it's not been fixed. It has not been fixed. Inflation is still an issue. So if inflation is still an issue, I talked to my group about this. I was like, look, in the live Q&A, I was like, look, United States has one big power. It's the most important thing. What's the most important thing? The most important thing for the United States is the world reserve currency, US dollars. US dollars is their big strategic power. There's two powers. The US dollar is number one, and the second one is their military complex. So for the United States, the most important thing is to allow people to adopt, not allow, but force the entire world to adopt US dollars. That's what they want to do. That's their biggest weapon. Their biggest weapon to control all of the world's population is forcing people to adopt their dollar. If they force people to adopt their dollar and then they can print it at will, that is what you call control mechanism, okay? So inflation is the only thing that could defeat that. So they got this number one thing, which is they control the world economy. That's their control. Inflation, okay, is the only thing that could stop that. If inflation goes too high, then another country could swoop in and become the world reserve currency. So for them, they see Silicon Valley Bank going down and all these things happening, but to them, that is a less problem than actual inflation. For the United States and the Federal Reserve, that is less of a problem. That is less of a problem than them losing their world reserve currency. So, we have the Federal Reserve meeting coming up soon. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I do think there's going to be rate hikes. I do think they're not going to slow down. They're going to slow down a little bit. What I mean by that, they're going to slow down their pace. So it might not be as aggressive, but I do think there's going to be rate hikes. Right now we're in a market condition where everybody's just buying no matter what. So it might move the market up, maybe even past 30K BTC. Personally, I believe it won't go past 30K BTC, but maybe even past 30K BTC might be a reality. And I'll be analyzing it more, but I'm not going to bet too much on that. I'll bet a little bit. It's not something to break the bank and become rich off of betting that Bitcoin's going to 30K when it's at 27K right now. It's not a super lucrative move. And I know a lot of people I see just making these videos to just get as many clicks and views as possible. And all on bull run. It's look, there's one thing you'll get from this channel. So do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel. There's one thing you'll get for a fact, and I'm going to give you the level-headed, consistent thought process. My investment thesis is consistent. I've been bearish for a very long time. I'm not going to flip-flop. Although I've bought, before this recent pump in November, I have transactions to show it. I bought. Although, I'll flip bullets short term, I'm going to give you the level-headed, hey, look, the world's not, no, we're not there yet. Just to be completely honest with you guys, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We have so much more room to go. We have so much more room to go. We need to see inflation actually come down. Once inflation actually is showing a trajectory, a significant trajectory going down, which will happen from the shelter index. Once we see that happen, or the shelter index is dropping, then I will start to be okay, maybe it's bullish time. And by the way, guys, the Bitcoin halving is in 2024. I just genuinely don't believe the mainstream narratives. I'm sorry. I watch them, I see them, but I'm not gonna believe it. I got to a point where I just purely do my own research, and I try to stay away from as many opinions as possible. This focus, people have a focus issue, including me sometimes, and so don't feel bad about it. But right now, it's just super obvious. It's super obvious that we're gonna see one big mayhem event. It's gonna be a massive mayhem event. I don't know what's gonna catalyze it. It could be the World War III potentially. It could be another bank going down, a bigger bank, maybe like Wells Fargo or something. If Wells Fargo went down, V-shaped recovery. After that, I'm buying for sure. but we haven't seen anything super catastrophic. If you look at the VIX, which is the volatility index for the S&P 500, this is a very clear indicator. It basically shows how much volatility or how much trading is happening. We're seeing volatility consistent with the past year. Nothing like 2020. I want to see something like 2020 or 2008. We have not seen the volatility of 2020 or 2008, which was these mayhem events. So once something like that happens, then after that, I will start to get bullish and I'll start to jump into these really crazy altcoins. But until then, I think it's important that you keep a level head and understand and prepare yourself for the future, whether that's getting a second job, whether that's doing affiliate marketing and trying to develop some side income, whether that's selling on eBay, whatever it is, start pivoting yourself to be able to survive this massive fall. And don't be fooled by people that are just purely, doing it for their own self-interest. Don't be fooled. Please, because again, I don't see anything. There's nothing changing except for like the mainstream. And they always change. They're literally changing on like a daily basis. They change on a daily basis. I don't listen to that. I'm looking at the actual indicators, and the actual indicators are not saying anything. I'm not seeing anything, guys. I'm not seeing anything. I personally believe there's going to be one more massive fall that no one will see. And my goal is to be pivoted in a decentralized exchange to short the market as well as gain yield. There's yield bearing opportunities. There's all types of opportunities that we have to brace ourselves for. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just checking in on a Saturday. I hope you're having a great one. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Catch you in the next one.